perfect. So now, again, a very important question. A couple of questions ago, Mayuri did mention that networking did help her in this journey, and I too agree. In this entire journey, especially now with this virtual match and things which change post COVID. So, any tips which you could give to the aspirant? We have, I think, around more than 350 students, listening to us live right now. So, what are the tips you could give to the aspirant IMGs to network? Like, for example, Surbi did mention about peer group, and somebody posted in the question panel that in my college nobody is doing USMLE. So, how do I get a peer group? So that's also an interesting point which they have raised it. So yeah, so what are the tips for networking? Now, when I say networking, it's not just about student community. It can be about getting your USCs or research or any aspects of the USMLE journey. All right. So we can start with Vibhor. I mean, any tips for networking?
Um, in terms of student to student networking, there are a lot of groups on Facebook. There are a lot of groups on Reddit. I in fact had a large group of WhatsApp called as 270 Kings and Queens. So what we used to do was in COVID pandemic, we used to study together on Zoom for like hours and hours on together. So to just to keep ourselves motivated, we used to discuss questions, we used to discuss doubts that we had. So that always helped me. In fact, uh, some of my really great friends are from that group. And in terms of networking in terms of from student to physicians, it's always emailing. You have to email people. US runs on emails. You have to email multiple times. In fact, during the match season, I emailed 2,000 times. Every week I was emailing 150 to 200 programs, not only just the program director but also the coordinator, also the associate program director, and sometimes even to the faculty, just to get my foot in. I was emailing. So emailing is very important. There are few apps you can use for emailing. There's called as Gmass. I use Gmass. Gmass also tells you who opened your email and at what time, so you can target them more specifically. So emailing is the one thing. And then for getting rotations, calling. You have to call the clinics, say that this is who I am, this is so and so, I want to do an observership or an externship with you. You can do that. Some people also at the end of the season, they call programs. They call programs and say that, okay, this is my profile, if you can look into my application. But I did that because they didn't. At the end of season, it was hard for me to manage my 33 interviews itself. There were so many interviews. I was like, how I'm going to manage them. So that's one thing. And just be nice. Just be nice to people. Help people. This goes a very long way. If you help people, they will help you. And I think it's a core value of my family itself, that whoever comes to us, we help them. So I just followed that core value and I helped anyone who came to me. In fact, some people were messaging me on LinkedIn. I told, okay, just call me up, I'll help you out. So I always help people. And that also helps you build a big network.
Absolutely. Surbi, you want to take?
Yes, so I think Vibhor really covered well about how to connect with your peers and how to connect PMAT. So I think I will touch upon on how to make connections when you're doing your rotations. So I think there are certain things that you have to keep in mind. Try to have a rotation in which throughout the month you are under one or at most two attendings. You don't want to have like 15 attendings who are going to work with you, because then nobody really knows you well. You want to have a rotation when you're working with one and at most 2 attend. As Vibhor said, you have to be nice. You have to be your best version of yourself during your rotations. You have to study, you have to do what they say, you have to always be punctual, not be tardy. Just be the best version of yourself. At the end of it, you tell them what your plans for the future are and that you would like to keep in touch with them. You might want a letter from them at the end. So ask at that time. And after that, at least like every 2 monthly, on festivals, occasions, keep in touch. Ask them how they're doing and wish them well. So that is how you make, like, that is the basics of how you network when you're doing a rotation.
Sure. Actually, Survey and Vibhor did cover most of the points, but another way to network is to attend conferences or be social. So when you're doing your rotations or when you are, whether it's like observership or anything, as Survey mentioned, be under one particular position. Ask them for other opportunities, whether, if it's an outside of the rotation, what else is the position doing? Can you volunteer whatever they are doing? So you'll be able to interact a little bit more. Or is there a conference that's coming up? You can share those topics. And moreover, some of the, so there are two types of positions, I would say. So there are physicians, you can talk to them about any doubts or any questions, and they'll help you out. They'll help you with your rotations. They'll get you an LOR. Fine. There are other physicians who you will just, click with them in the sense that not just in terms of a hospital, but you will also go along really well when you go outside of the hospital. There are people who will just go out for lunch or like for other conferences or for other meetings or hangouts. So people do that, whether it's an in hospital or out of hospital. So by with that, they just don't, yes, they know you in terms of a medical student, how you behave with patients, with nurses in hospital, but also outside of hospital, how you are as a person. So that kind of tells them that as an individual, will you be able to work with the colleagues, with other colleagues in the hospital? And when they see that, those are the physicians who will recommend you. Those are the physicians who will give you a very personalized letter of recommendations. They will not just say that you are a nice student or you are a good medical student, you have good clinical knowledge. Every medical student has that. But when they describe a personal experience that they had with you, that kind of goes a long way. I remember I had a friend who told me that his physician wrote a statement at the end that after he finishes his residency, he would like to hire him in his own hospital or clinic. So that kind of statement goes a long way. It kind of tells you your personality, you as a person. Everybody, is good in terms of medicine. Everybody is a physician, they all know how to practice medicine, and everybody has done USMLE. So they know, like, everybody is good in terms of medical knowledge, but in person, how you are is what matters at the end of the day. And that's what networking is for.
Absolutely, absolutely. So,
One more point, you need to have a good sense of humor. You need to
Yeah,
learn
right.
how to crack jokes, because if you do not have good sense of humor, you cannot work with that person, you cannot have fun during work,
Yeah.
and you just be yourself and have good sense of humor, and just be very friendly. This is very
Yeah.
important.
absolutely, absolutely. So, very, very important points which have come out, right? First thing, I would already appreciate Vibhor to point it out, and I think that is the crux of the entire journey. Okay, a lot of times people don't believe, but it's the karma theory, right? So give and take, right? So a lot of times I've seen, and this is again between when I hear from students and their stories that a lot of people reach out to them whenever there is a need, but reverse at times doesn't work. So if you are somebody who is not going to help back, it's not going to work out. It has to be a symbiotic relationship. So because the journey is a long thing, right? I mean, in the entire thing, you might have your clinical experience. You might meet now. These times, interviews were virtual, but at times when physical interviews happen, people plan their stays together. People plan their travel together. So you might require and you will make a lot of friends, but in that journey, if you're not going to help each other, and that typical competitive spirit comes in your mind that no, if I help him or her, maybe I might be left behind. it will not work out. You have to make sure that you will get your way and you will get whatever you deserve. So if you're going to help build those karmas, I mean, it will work out for you. That one very important point. Second was follow up. When you see that we were talking about 2,000 emails, believe me, this is a message which I would want to tell each one of you. Like this, I've seen teams of students for 10 years, all right, and this is the secret of success, all right. Uh, I can give you a similar example. So November of a match cycle, I got a call, and those days there were physical interviews. I'm talking about 8 years ago, right? I got call from a student that I have not got a single interview. What do I do? And I said, no, best is to reach out to these programs, all right? And he took it literally. So he actually took down a flight. He was staying in Philadelphia. He took down a flight at New York, New Jersey, and every program which he applied, he physically went, met people there, and the excuse was that I have come for an interview in the nearby program. I thought, why don't I check out this program? And believe me, after his exercise for those almost 20 days, he got 3 interviews. So point is that consistency of reaching out to people, because as I said, people don't know you exist. You might be a wonderful physician, but people don't know. So as much as possible, you should connect with people, network with them. Mayuri pointed about our conferences, very important. Surbi did mention these are very technical, smaller thing, but you might not realize how important it is. Like having a single attendee, because that ensures a personalized letter. B, you can impress that physician well, right? If you are going to meet 20 people in that 1 month span, first of all, you're not sure whom to ask LOR from, and secondly, they might have met you for an hour or a day. I'm not sure how good or bad they will write an LOR. It's not like a lot of times I see people are talking about med schools in India where anything can be written. But no, in US, they if they genuinely believe in you, I mean, they would give you a very good LOR, right? So it's very important that very important point again. Dr. Subi mentioned, be the best version of yourself. Be nice. So, and lastly, of course, sense of humor becomes very important. I mean, nobody wants somebody who's either snobbish or somebody is very dull, sad in their team, because end of the day they are hiring you so that you will work with them for next 3, 5, 8 years, right? So they want even their place to be chilled out, right? So that's how it works. So take this as a job application, as good as a job, right? So people are going to see the human side of you also. A lot of times, this is a very common question. I'm sure each one of you might have got that. How will you manage the stress of residency, during your interviews, right? Or how will you, what do you do in your free time? So these kind of questions are there, keeping in mind that how good you are in terms of your mental well-being as well, right? So which is why it is important that each one of you uh, do connect with the right people, and networking becomes, I would say, day by day, it's becoming like one of the top-notch factor why people are getting matched. All right.